welcome to a Troy TrojanVision News behind-the-scenes commentary. We're going to show you a multi-camera behind-the-scenes look at what goes on during a newscast here at Troy TrojanVision. This is Aaron Taylor, the television production coordinator here at Troy University Television. I help supervise the production and the students that you're going to hear. We got 3 students here that work on the crew. Go ahead and round table and introduce yourself. Start with Austin.
Hey, I'm Austin Cofield. I'm the director you see on the bottom screen right there in the blue and white striped shirt. I'll just let Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah.
And I'm Sarah Singletary. I am the news anchor that is fidgeting with her hair and now sliding back and forth and has not probably stopped touching her hair and probably won't stop touching her hair until the show actually starts.
And last but not least.
And I'm Ryan Renfro. I'm the sports guy on the far left of the screen up in the top. I was the guy, if you saw with the telephone at the very beginning. I'm pretty sure at that point I was acting like I was talking to President Obama. So.
Real quick interrupt before we get into this. This is what we call our pre-show squeeze you see going on right here. It's a little pre-show tease that we come in right before the show open, counting down. Austin doing the counting down there.
Right. And if you'll notice on the top right of the screen, that is our live feed. And you can look in the director's screen in the bottom. The very top monitor is what people at home are seeing. So in the top right screen, you're seeing what everyone at home saw.
And you see there's a little bit of a delay between the 2 monitors on the top up there because one of those is what's in here, but the one on the left of that monitor is what folks are actually seeing in their homes. So there's a little bit of a delay between those 2, and we get a return feed just to make sure what's on the air. So and it helps you guys a lot, Austin, right? So seeing that TV feed to make sure you're actually on the air.
There have been quite a few times where we went to go air something, and it turns out it wasn't actually airing.
Nice.
We'll get more into some production stuff here, but this story right here, in addition to being our sports guy, Ryan actually was the reporter on the story you're seeing on the air here. So Ryan, tell a little about the story and what your process is when you do a story.
Well, this is the SGA Student Government Inauguration Night, and as you can see, a bunch of the SGA members are there, and I had a great time with this story. I enjoyed gathering the B-roll and the footage and whatnot, and interviewing our campus leaders. So. And there's Sarah right there.
And it's always weird seeing yourself in the story. Like I didn't realize I was in this story, but now that I'm looking at myself, and I'm not used to being on the opposite side of the camera.
And you guys, and the thing is, you are students here at Troy, so there's a good chance that even though you're on camera, you're gonna appear somewhere else in some of these stories. So.
That's what kind of makes this job fun. Is that while we are anchors and reporters and producers, we are students at the same time. So we do have lives and do things outside of here. So it's always funny to catch both going on at the same time.
So what goes on between you guys here at the desk when one of these stories is going on?
I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of.
Looks like you're kind of taking a nap there.
There's no way to know what Jordan and I are talking about. We're pointing at monitors. We're probably talking about how my eyeball twitched or something during the squeeze, or how she thinks that she messed up a word, but really no one at home realizes that she messed up a word, but she thinks she did. The conversation in between packages, it's short, but it's always something funny.
And we'll call these packages. Let me intervene. News stories in the news lingo, we refer to them as packages. So if folks at home, if you hear us calling them a package, that's what we're referring to as news stories. So a little bit of lingo.
And see, here you can see Sherry, our weather girl for the night, come up and ask me a question.
And you've got a complicated job because you have to pay attention to a lot of different things also.
And if you see, I'm sitting in front of like this big, huge switchboard that controls everything on the show, like what goes on, what doesn't, what do you preview, and all that stuff. So I'm having to juggle like 3 different positions while doing my own job.
And then answering people's questions. And then not to mention an additional job in this story, this kind of behind the scenes extra is that sometimes the reporter, who is Sherry, who is the weather person we just saw walk through the screen, she shot this story, but then it contains some footage that you shot for a story about 2 weeks earlier. So use of file video.
I remember her interview, the woman that was just on. I remember interviewing her and then seeing her in like 4 different stories that I didn't produce. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yes, that's always fun too, because we do a lot of teamwork, and I know sometimes Aaron will go out and he'll get the footage and he'll get the interview, and then I'll throw the package together. So a lot of the stuff that we see on screen isn't all a one-man band. There is a lot of cooperation between stuff.
Because we are students, and we do have like classes and other like responsibility to take care of. So sometimes things like that are necessary.
Oh,
You got to get somebody else to help out. Like, and Ryan, for instance, we're taping this during the summer semester, and Ryan is one of the few people actually working for us during the summer semester. And you've gotten interviews at one story and got interviews for like 4 different stories at one time, right?
Yeah, we have done that a lot. That really pays off in the long run. You know, for instance, like an example, the other day I did a story about the new Adams administration building that's taking place, and I ran into Chancellor Hawkins and interviewed him about that. And so, like you said, Aaron, you know, interviewing people ahead of time for future content is huge. It helps out a lot.
And you can multitask and do a lot of different things.
Exactly.
Now here we got to take a look at the different camera angles. You've seen most of the tight shots with the graphics behind them, but in there we have our behind anchor monitor that we lovingly call the BAM. That's the lingo. But those graphics, though, let's talk about the graphics, Austin, because that's something that you guys do all day in this pre-production.
Right. So my main responsibility is making sure everything that goes on the show goes on flawlessly. So that means me and my crew come here about 3 or 4 hours before showtime, and we build every single graphic that you see come on. In a minute, we're about to run into state, so you'll see an example of some of it. But like the videos that play in the BAM or the behind anchor monitor, and also the stills, we create all of them. So everyone that works on these graphics get an extensive experience working in Photoshop, After Effects, and all kinds of things, just trying to make sure everything goes on.
And they actually build them there in the control room. That front row that's in front of you with the 2 young ladies in front of you, that's actually where y'all build all the graphics on those computers. They multitask. Those computers are served. The live show do some things, but then it's also where you build your graphics.
Right.
As well.
This is where I see, that room is where I spend, every day at work. I come in, work in the graphics on those lower computers, and then come up there and work as director or wherever else I need to be. But
And another thing in here, talking about the preparation, Austin, and the camera moves. One of the things you got to tell the person, we have a camera operator in the studio, but during this is probably one of the first times that we're going to see cameras make moves on the live show. Kind of talk about how you got to feed that information in there via headset.
Right, so whenever I say, as a director, your responsibility is make sure everything is perfect before it goes on air, I mean everything, including cameras. So I'm also having to look at the rundown, which if you'll notice like sheets of paper on the anchor desk and in the control room. That is pretty much exactly how every shot needs to look, where it needs to be, who it needs to be positioned on, et cetera, et cetera. So you always
and you can see the camera move right there. He's adjusting the next shot for Jordan because we've got to cut off a monitor that's on the side to get it composed just right.
Right,
So,
and these are some of the graphics I was talking about earlier.
And this is funny because whenever I'm doing production stuff and having to type this in for state, because I know you guys type the words in that are on the state side graphic,
Including the spelling error, the grammar error on this one that we point out.
I was about to say, mention the spelling errors that often happen.
Yeah, they often happen because there's a lot of people do it, but here we will apologize for attorneys generals.
Attorneys generals.
If you look at any of you AP style guys, the proper is attorneys general, but we added an extra S at the end of it, and I think Austin had something to do with that.
I'm not going to.
You're going to plead the fifth on
So
that one.
there's always some sort of mix-up in translation somewhere between AP and Austin. Something manages to go wrong with the spelling.
I think this is a really good example of like how the tech crew and the anchor and reporter crew work together in these kind of situations. We're always talking back and forth, whether this video is correct, needs to be fixed, or even just like what words need to be put on the screen.
And it's not unusual for like anchors to catch some things and directors. I mean, it's a live show. You guys will jump back and forth and kind of talk to each other about this sort of stuff.
Oh yes, we have to. I know from here, if I notice something teeny tiny, even if it's in the rundown and something accidentally gets swapped or there's a misspelling or something like that, having to flag Austin down, during a break like this where we have a PSA and I'm flailing my arms like crazy trying to get Austin's attention. It definitely happens.
And we just got to look at Marley Hall there. She is not a part of the TrojanVision news team doing that from the break.
There's Aaron fixing my hair, as always.
Yeah, this was Hat Head Day. You came in with Hat Head.
It's looking rough today.
In addition, that is me, by the way. You actually get to see me a little bit earlier than normal in the show. In addition to my producing duties and supervisor duties, I do hair.
Yes,
and
often, actually. More often than
you think. Hair and makeup. been doing it for 15 years. And there's Ryan
There it
Renfro
is.
showing
There's
up.
Ryan. And it's a good thing you can't see my Chacos. I guess you can now, but I'm rocking the
on
coat
the
and
left-hand
tie
side, you
Chacos.
can notice business on the top, casual on the bottom down there.
And
A little
that's
bit of
the best.
reporter secrets there for those of you back at home is a lot of times your reporters and anchors are just going to be wearing shorts or pajamas.
Exactly.
Or jeans in the case of our weather that we're going to see in a little bit. So you'll notice we'll have a slightly tighter shot on weather coming up. Ryan, talk a little bit about what goes into producing sports. Austin talked about producing the behind-the-scenes stuff. But talk about sports producing, what you got to do,
Right.
what you got to do. So.
It's a. I have so much fun with it. I'll just start off by saying that with sports. It's a lot. When it comes to the writing, you can have a lot of fun. I know when I first started sports, you told me that you got the facts and the scores and stuff. Then the rest is you get to have a lot of fun with it. So I enjoy that. But this right here, you can see we have I think this is a package. I also we have SOTs and 15 to 30 second SOTs that we throw in there too. And so basically, I just get to work at about 2 o'clock and start figuring out what stories I want to have for that night's show. And most of the time we have sound. We also have graphics we can throw in there, and we try to have some packages too for content. So
And you've got usually about there's about 3 or
Trojans
4
got off to a
guys
slow
that
start.
compose our sports
Yeah.
team around here, and all of you are introducing
Squad.
some elements. Yeah.
You were just signaling something to me. I'm trying to figure out what you said because I cannot lip read, and you made some kind of waving
Well,
motion.
because the waving, because this package, the voice track on this package was super loud.
That's right.
And
There
so
it
what you were doing there, you were instructing the audio operator that they've got to ride the levels. And we'll see the audio board a little bit. It's at the corner behind Austin, but there are slider bars, and they ride those levels up and down. Occasionally, you've got to tell the audio person, hey,
Right.
work on it.
Like one of some of the lingo we use in the director's room is like more cowbell, less cowbell. But you just got to keep an eye out on stuff like that and like lighting, especially lighting. That's one thing I'm still learning to work on.
Yes.
All right, how cool is it the fact that you get to go and cover sports basically
It
for
is
quote unquote a living? So.
It is so cool. I have a lot of fun. That's one of the best parts about it is being in the same room as Coach Mark Martin and Jeremy McClain, the athletic director. I interviewed him not too long ago, and stuff like that is just coming to college, coming to Trojan Vision is I've been blessed with all these opportunities and have a good time with it. So.
Yeah.
And of course, at this part of the show, we're in sports, but poor Sarah and Jordan still have to hang out on the desk and just. Of course, you get some sports education. But I mean, what are you guys doing at this point while sports are going on? Because obviously, you don't have any element of this. So.
Right, we don't. We have to stay quiet. That's another thing. So me and Jordan, we get together, and she and I are best friends. So of course we're wanting to talk the whole time, but we have to be silent. So that's one thing. If you're in Jordan's seat, you're trying not to get in Ryan's shot. That's a whole nother thing. So Jordan's like, will sometimes be like all leaned up in my bubble because she's trying to stay out of Ryan's shot. And then me, I think I might just scratch my nose, look like I was picking it.
Let me point out something technical here for folks at home. If you look at the top monitor there, look at the numbers on the front of the camera. There's a little something, the tally lights. You'll notice as an anchor which camera you're supposed to be looking at because now all of those clocks are green, but they'll turn red as soon as we go live on the air.
That's what we're right about too.
Yeah. And the clocks, what are the clocks do? What are the clocks doing for the anchors?
I could not do the show without those clocks because I have the rundown in front of me, which, if all else fails, is telling me where to look and what to go and what's next. But those lights, that directs me to where I need to be looking. If we have a break and it's during a news package, I know how much time I have to, readjust my mic or readjust my seat or fix my hair before I get back on screen. So were it not for those timers, you would probably see me doing all kinds of crazy stuff when the camera came back on.
From a technical point of view, I also control like what their clocks see, and for us, the clock is everything. We're constantly having to make adjustments, cut out commercials, add commercials, cut weather, add weather time, and we're constantly having to monitor that and let the anchors know how much time they have doing what.
What about these? We refer to these as the tosses in the business. How fun or not fun are tosses?
Tosses are difficult, I think, because it's like you want to kind of have a plan, but not such a hard plan that if it messes up, it doesn't go right. But Ryan does love tosses.
Yeah, it's just important to be comfortable with it. I mean, you're just talking to, I was talking talking to Jordan and Sarah there, and yeah, like Sarah said,
usually ad lib, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
you go ahead of time a little bit so you know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
but that's not a scripted part of the show. so.
Right. I don't even like to. Sometimes I don't even like to know what he's going to come back with, just because if I get it too scripted and too bullet pointed out, I'll mess it up. So it's good for me to actually have it a little more ad lib and a little more
I
free.
didn't point out here that this right here, we've gone into what we refer to as our national block. We're CBS and a CNN affiliate. Oh wait, before we get into that, here's our audio board. I believe Kyle Bozeman, our station manager, who's running that camera, panned over so we get a look at that audio
Right.
board.
So there you can see Hayden helping out a new person on audio. He's teaching her, which audio levels to set, how to set them, turn on which mic. And I think it's important to mention that, like, here at Trojan Vision, we're very new person friendly crew. We've had people come in and just ask to be a part of the show, and we immediately put them on a thing.
Right.
Heck, I got started the show back 4 years ago. Whenever I first started in the station, I asked about learning how to direct, and Jeff told me, come back next Wednesday, that's our training day. And then ever since then, I've been directing.
And you'll notice there were two people there, and that's something that we also do here, and part of the training is it's very peer education oriented, even behind the scenes in a reporter aspect. Normally, you don't go out by yourself or even work a position by yourself around here.
Absolutely. Whenever the first time I went out, and it's not even like you go out with an adult. Like, I didn't go out on my first story with you. I went out with Courtney Addison, with another student who took me under her wing and taught me everything she knew. So it definitely is a lot of peer education, because there's a lot more peers than there are, adult supervisors. So it definitely helps to have a student teaching you how to do it all.
And I think that it's important to mention, I don't think we've said that yet, but everything in the station is completely student run. You'll see Aaron in the background supervising and all that stuff, but everyone running position, all the anchors, all students.
And right now we're prepping for the weather tease, which is it's another live aspect of the show. You see back in the background, Sherry is our weather person. She's getting up on the green wall. By the way, folks, there's no weather map actually behind them.
Believe it or not.
There's the wizard. We've unveiled the curtain, and there's no actual map behind them. We'll talk more about the green wall in a second. But this is another aspect you're going to see later. But this is back in Austin's part, Anchor's part. Everybody getting ready for this next part of this show.
Yes, and you can kind of see in the back between the two cameras. You can see. Oh wait, no, Casey just walked in front of it. But the guy in the back corner with the yellow tank top, he was running the teleprompter, which is another thing.
And you can actually see the teleprompter, folks at home. This is the first chance that you've had a chance to actually see them. What the words look like. They haven't memorized these scripts,
No,
and you can see the clock
not.
counting down a little bit better. That we've only got 13 seconds left in the show at this point. So, but you can see what they're reading up there. This package. Sorry, package.
Right.
Thank you, Austin, for correcting me there. But you'll see how this whole thing goes back and forth. You see Austin punching it back and forth and going to cameras.
Yes, and then bouncing back to Jordan and I, and getting ready to toss it to Sherry here soon.
One thing that I love as an anchor is having those monitors on the desk.
Oh yeah, that's another
in-desk
little
monitors.
secret you can see the first time there. The monitors in front of you, and a lot of times when you see an anchor, when you introduce a story, you'll see an anchor look down, and because they're usually
Yes.
looking at one of those monitors down there. So,
And that's very helpful, because I have a preview and I have what's live sitting right in front of me, so I know what's about to come up and what's still on the screen that people are watching at home.
there you go.
Ah, yes, and that's another thing. That's awesome to have girlfriends up there, because I will get the lipstick off your teeth every single time. That's what I'm there for.
Jordan giving a little wave for us. There hasn't been a lot of selfies. The last time we did one of these shows, Jordan was on commentary, and I think the selfie count was at about 17. So
I remember counting that with her.
Yeah,
and she was
so-
like,
That's another thing we do during these breaks, where me and Jordan don't really get to talk. We take a lot of selfies, or we talk in funny accents.
And we'll talk about timing. And Austin, this is timing here. I've got the rundown in front of us, and we timed. Normally, weather gets about 3 to 4 minutes, and I think we produced it at 3. But we've already got a clock running there. Talk about that.
So, like I was saying earlier, the clock determines everything. The rundown we have tells me when I need to be out of weather. So I have to calculate that with the remaining time to see, okay, I'm supposed to be out of weather at 6 minutes and 14 seconds. So I have to take our current time and say, this is how much time we've got until 6 minutes, 14 seconds. That's how much time weather has to give weather.
Yes, and it was funny, we just missed it. We were, speaking of time, we were counting down and it was getting closer to when I was going to be on camera to toss it to Sherry for weather, and I started yawning. And you guys just missed it. I was fanning my yawn. I was like, this yawn has got to get out of here because I have 4 seconds before I'm back on camera.
And that's the stuff that you don't see. I mean, like literally somebody could explode off camera
And
while we're
no one
under
has to
video, and
know.
nobody knows until we go live on the air.
Yes, no
Then we're
one
gonna
has
kind of
to
see.
know.
We're gonna pan around the studio here so you can kind of get an idea, and you can see how close the weather wall or how far the weather wall is from the news desk. They kind of have to make a commute over. And she is wearing jeans,
Yes.
as we mentioned. So so Austin. So she doesn't look so casual, has zoomed in a little bit tighter so we're not seeing the jeans in there behind the scenes.
And
so.
you'll see me like issuing those orders. And that's one thing that I think is funny because you can see I'm wearing a headset and I'm constantly talking to my camera people. One thing I've been informed of is that like we technical crew have our own kind of witty banter going on. You know, while they're sitting on the desk, we're also sitting back here, usually making fun of the national stories like, oh, wow, like this is.
All right, there you go. Tell me what Casey's doing right there,
Oh,
Austin.
yes,
Okay.
the bunny ears.
So
He's not doing bunny ears.
I'm giving my orders to cameraman Casey there, and I'm telling him to let Sherry know she's got 2 minutes left. That was the bunny ears, and we have different hand signals depending on 30 seconds or 15 seconds or even just a minute left.
And you'll see a 30-second cue here in a second, probably in the next 10 or 15 seconds. But there you go.
There you go.
That little C that he's doing with his hand right there, that's a 30-second cue. So a minute and 30 seconds there. And even though the clocks are running on the front, and Ryan, you've done weather. Sarah, you've done weather as well. It helps to have those hand gestures
Yes.
as well, right? So
Yes, especially because I think in weather, this is one of the most important times where the time is correct because this determines the toss time at the end of the show. This determines the time for tea talk. So having a few extra hands showing you the time is helpful.
Let's look at the monitors right here real quick here. Like you can see the monitor offside, and by the way, Ryan helping out with time signals when he's not doing sports. But the monitors are the important part, a little behind the scenes stuff here. There is no weather map behind them, but kind of the illusion when they look at those side monitors is that you're looking at a map for the folks at home. And there's a monitor on both sides there, so they get a chance to look like they're looking at a map, but they're really looking at those monitors right there. So.
And I feel like that's a really difficult job for weather people to do, like to be constantly looking at the camera, but knowing where their position is on the green screen.
Yes. And also, I don't know if you guys noticed, there's a cord running across the bottom of the green screen. You can kind of see it in the top left monitor. That is just that's more than a cord that's just kind of flailed across. That's the line that we're not supposed to cross as weather anchors. You're supposed to stay in front of that line. So that's just another thing that weather anchors are doing, making sure they're in front of that line, making contact with the audience, and looking at the monitors.
And there's a technical reason for that if you get too close to the wall, that what we refer to as the chroma key can drop out. Like you start to see the green bleed in. So.
Now Jordan she's over it. We're towards the end of the show, and she's just taking a quick 5-minute nap because Trojan Talk, we do have about 5 minutes during this time, so this is the time where
What are you doing,
and
Austin?
You'll see me. I took off my headphones. I'm standing up. I'm giving orders. Looks like I'm angry, but I promise I'm not. It's all disappointing.
I think you were telling them about credits and potentially a PSA because we were probably a little bit light on time, maybe there.
Correct. So what my job was to do is calculate the remaining time of the show, and then after I find out the remaining time, I give my orders, and you'll see me on the top screen. I like to play this little game where all the anchors guess how much time left we have in the show.
Yes.
So then I tell them the answer, and then I tell them what our plans are, whether we're doing credits.
Austin nearly got his head taken off there by a camera.
Oh my God!
Good
Nice.
news there.
It's swiveling right there. Yes, and the
Gotta
time
watch out for
game,
that.
this gets pretty intense. And you can see Jordan just won. Jordan just guessed the right time, and it's who gets the closest without going over.
Price
which
is
another
Right
thing.
rules, well,
Price is Right rules, but I don't even consider it a win until I hit it on the head, and I've probably only done that in 2 years. I've probably guessed it perfectly maybe twice. So we try to add it up, but Austin's ultimately the one with the magic number.
A little friendly rivalry there.
Yes, definitely.
Whoever guesses best and guesses the most is the champion. So, and we'll
you get
talk a little
bragging
bit. Let me talk a little about the segment that we've got playing here. This is our Trojan Talk segment. This is not me, but the gentleman doing the interviewing is me on camera there. Trojan Talk is our public affairs segment that we run. It's a 5-minute talk segment that we do, focusing on a lot of usually university, but also other community events. This one in particular, we're talking about, he's a timpanist with the symphony band. He's talking about an upcoming symphony band concert. But the topics of these run the gamut. I mean, we could publicize upcoming concerts. I've interviewed social media star, Cole LeBrant on here. I've interviewed Patty Duke a few years ago, so I've had some celebrities sit in on these interviews as well. So it's pretty fun, but it also gives a kind of a downtime segment. And there I am once again in my duties. In addition to interview, I'm fixing clothes.
You can see Jordan's on her phone. Sherry's taking selfies.
Known for her mom. Like Jordan's known for the fact that her mom calls her at the most inconvenient times, including during the show. So right now she just called her mom back. I remember she's calling her mom back. Sherry's trying to get all of our attentions to take a selfie. So this is a time where we catch up
and
on
that jacket, I hated it because it looked like Ryan had like weird wings coming out. We actually altered that. I got the sewing kit out and altered it at some point after this show.
The padding on the shoulder.
The padding on the shoulder was all kinds of messed up. So but this is all part of the pride. Then Sherry's taking some Instagram.
The lighting on this desk is flawless. You can't mess up the opportunity. You cannot pass it up.
Usually at the end of the show, there's pictures taken just because everyone wants the good, nice pictures.
Yes, and the good lighting. And if someone ever turns off the light before we take the pictures, we're like, no, turn our lights back on. We got to get a cute picture before we leave. We do it all the time. But this is definitely, as far as the anchors go, this is kind of our chill time. 5 minutes of chill time, but chill time nonetheless before the show wraps up.
All right, and this is really like, this and weather are really the only times us technical people get a break. And even then, it's not much of a break, but 3 or 5 minutes to just
Hey, what are you doing right there, Austin? That's the tower cam right there. So.
No. This is our tower cam. So outside the station, we have a tower cam that we can use for our weather shots. And there I'm showing one of our interns how you can like zoom in and manipulate the camera to get whatever shot you want. There I'm zooming in on someone's car, and you can see our whole parking lot, and now I'm just kind of looking around the university.
And we have that's about 200 feet up. And you can see the tower actually panning through the bottom of that shot right there as you're going across. But that's located above our building on our public radio tower that's right there. But it gives us a good opportunity to show what we refer to as our weather cam. We use it a lot for weather and some other elements like that.
And I don't know if that was planned or me just like fooling around while we had some time to spare, but it worked out.
But hey, it's a little talking point there. So, and speaking of talking, here at the end, I'm kind of talking with you guys at the desk and don't know exactly what we're potentially talking about there. But this is, at this point, it's just kind of a chill out before we get to the end. I mean, this is a live show.
Yes.
It's 30 minutes, and we've got the time, and I think we're probably going to wrap up here in just a second, but it gives opportunity to get everything together for the show.
Yes, you can tell when we're all wrapping up, and it's funny watching it now because we were all just taking selfies on the phone with our moms, fixing our cars, and now we're all kind of starting to sit up straight. So it's probably a sign that we're about to wrap it up because we're acting like a.
And the folks at home don't know this, and that's one of the.
No one knows.
So many things can go on behind the scenes, and nobody at home knows. And luckily, nothing too terribly embarrassing has happened behind the scenes on this one. Okay, and we're about to wrap it up.
Yes, and you can definitely tell because now we're all sitting up straight.
It's funny how much 10-second standby can change people.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
When you say 10 second standby, there's like a rod in my back. I'm up straight, hair's fixed, whole 9 yards.
All right, so right now we're going through the close of the show. This will be the ending, and let's see if we did credits and we planned that.
And then
All right, so there we go.
Yes.
So during that break, where we have during Trojan Talk, one of our duties is to prepare the credits, which changes every single day depending on who's working what. So you can see our all of our names, and then our production coordinator, producer, all that stuff, crediting the university.
Yes,
And of course, we're in that we utilize our camera 4 camera. It's our up in the sky cam here in the studio. It's only about 8 feet up, but still gives a nice little view, behind the scenes view of what's going on. And also during this end part, you see even on the on-air monitor, Casey coming up. Doing so. Oh, and there you go.
There's our tower cam.
There's our tower
cam
200
right
feet above
Which is super cool.
the building there. So, but
Boy.
the show's not over. We're gonna jump ahead real quick for 30-second weather.
Yeah.
This is a promo we do that we run throughout the
She was
night.
absolutely excited about it.
About 30-second weather.
But sometimes the weather people can do this in one take. Sometimes not so much.
Ooh,
Right?
sometimes not so much, and I think I'm the queen of not so much on the first take. But it's funny because you want to try to do it before the show, but because they're running around doing a million things, you don't necessarily have time to do it before. So after, the longer you take, the longer everyone's stuck there.
Yep.
So there was a little bit of pressure to get it done the first couple tries.
Well, that's our the show. We'll watch 30 Second Weather here. We're going to wrap things up. We want to thank all of you for watching and tuning into the actual newscast. We had Ryan Renfro, Sarah Singletary, Austin Cofield, and myself, Aaron Taylor. We hope you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look and got a little bit of entertainment and maybe a few laughs. Watch us Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.